Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block, on a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At Enchain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts, basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Good afternoon, everybody. It looks like we are live at 5. Spot on today. A little bit of a celebration because it is my birthday. I'm sitting here with my mulled wine because it's freezing outside, and I thought, you know what? Just going to have a good old show today and have a good old laugh at what's going on. So for any newbies who are wondering why we broadcast on Twitch, is because YouTube have taken down 2 of my channels. Then they were preventing me from editing my shows. Then they were deleting my episodes. And I was like, you know what? This is absolutely ridiculous. So now we broadcast live on Twitch every day, live at 5 from wherever I am in the world. Just go to www.twitch.tv/Satoshi.tv. There we go. Because these big corporations don't seem to mind all these shitcoiners shilling their shitcoins like Corecoin, BTC and BCH, but when it comes to the genuine Bitcoin, oh no, can't have that. 50 views on his channel, that's far too many. Absolutely ridiculous. And this is the reason why. Check it out. So this is definitely working. And also, I mean, I don't know whether it's just me, but I get the feeling that genuine Bitcoiners are starting to believe in themselves. When I see, well, it's not necessarily trolling, it's the confidence that they've got to kind of like give an answer back. Some shitcoiner puts out some really stupid shit for brains kind of like statement, and they're straight in there. Like, no, you're wrong, and this is why. Like, absolutely brilliant. I'm loving what I'm reading on Twitch and Twitter right now. There's real solidarity between the genuine Bitcoiners, because it's basically kind of like, it's like, intelligent people against shit for brains. And it's kind of like, I'm not having any shit for brains. I'm not tolerating it. You don't need to tolerate dumbness in your life. If somebody is being stupid, just tell them why they're being stupid and explain it like somebody who's intelligent would do, which is what we're doing. It's great. So somebody who is intelligent but is misguided is Michael Saylor, because he has not done his homework on the political situation of Bitcoin because he can't understand it. Because he's just like, why would anybody cripple it? Well, the people who cripple it are the people who don't want it to succeed. And those people who don't want it to succeed are the people who have currently got control of the Federal Reserve printing press and can print whatever they want. They can cause all the shit around the world, which gives them an excuse to even print more money. You know, they want, like, they can get rid of presidents, they can shoot presidents, they can cause shit and blame it on the president, then put a new president in, and then suddenly all the domestic troubles like clear up, and then there's a war that gets started like over the other side of the world. Some poor country that can't defend itself whatsoever gets blown to smithereens because commies, gotta defeat the commies and all that kind of shit. So anyway, that's why we needed commodity money. We needed commodity money that all and everyone can compete for and get hold of. Not something that is a socialist system where you basically have to beg and plead and get a loan from the bank before they give you any money. It's like absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, let's have a listen to what Michael Saylor says about Bitcoin and its original protocol. Here we go.
I like Bitcoin the way it is. In fact, I love Bitcoin the way it is. And the way it's currently constructed, it is possible to put all $250 trillion of monetary energy in big blocks of encrypted energy on the blockchain. Maybe the Bitcoin will be 1 million. You can probably calculate $10 million of Bitcoin or something. Big blocks. $100 million chunks on the blockchain. It'll store all the monetary energy in the world, and it should store it for the next 100 years without losing any of it. If Bitcoin's going to fail, it's not going to fail due to lack of functionality or lack of speed or lack of scalability. In my opinion, if Bitcoin is going to fail, it's going to fail because of it loses trust and security. We have to protect the network integrity at all cost.
And the network integrity, Michael, is held together by the chain of signatures, which is what caused all this furore in the first place, because Blockstream, a group of developers funded to the tune of $100 million by organizations, multinationals, who have suspiciously close links to the Federal Reserve, gave them $100 million and told them to F it up. We want you to change it. Do you think they should change Bitcoin, Michael? Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you're really enthusiastic about the original design. Big blocks on the blockchain. Exactly. Do you think Blockstream are going to let big blocks appear on CoreCoin? I don't think so, because that means it might work. And that's not what they want. They want it to not work. And not only do they not want it to not work, they also want people not to use it. Because if people use it, it means miners will be able to economically sustain it. And if miners can economically sustain it, it means it can run indefinitely. And they can't be having that because the printing press might have to stop one day because they can't print enough because it'll be absolutely worthless. And as Voltaire said, all paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value at zero. In fact, you know, I should really have a picture of that, shouldn't I? You know, about intrinsic value. But for those of you who don't believe what I've just said about Blockstream, because I know shitcoiners with shit for brains like literally wouldn't have a clue what I was just talking about there, have a listen to what Samson Mao said, being the chief strategy officer of Blockstream when he was in an interview with Simon Dictwit and Max Kaiser. Have a listen.
Bitcoin was created by the central bankers that enslave you today. It is their scapegoat.
How do you answer those, Max and Stacey?
I think the evidence is clear that they do not control it. There's 10 years, almost 11 years now of track record.
Yeah, Blockstream controls it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who does?
Blockstream.
Oh,
all right.
I was looking at you when I said that.
Yeah, I'm a block. I have a spy. I'm one of the spies. No, so this, you know, it's an interesting.
It certainly is, Max. It really is interesting now that there's a The reason Blockstream controlled BTC is because they implemented SegWit on the 24th of August 2017, segregating the signatures that holds all the users and developers on the network to account meant that Blockstream now can do whatever they want. They are accountable to no one because the signatures are not intact, which is why they've done it. And this is also why we've got a shitcoin market, because Vitalik Buterin wanted to build Ethereum on top of BTC. So he went to Blockstream and said, excuse me, Blockstream, can I build Ethereum on top of your blockchain? They said, no, you can't. He said, fine, I'll make my own. I'll just make my own blockchain with my own token and money on it. No, because that doesn't solve the paradox of the centralized starting point, does it, Vitalik? But you wouldn't know that because you're a douchebag as well. See, only Satoshi Nakamoto knew this, which is why he used a pseudonym and started the network under a pseudonym and then stepped back from the project to let it grow without that central point of authority, control or influence for a period of 10 years in order to give Bitcoin its fundamental value. Its USP that no other network can touch or come anywhere near, and it just can't just simply be created overnight. And if you don't believe me, that the first thing that a group of nefarious developers are going to do is attack the chain, well, we need to listen to what Roger Ver said in his interview about Bcrash and how they've added Schnorr signatures, which makes it regulatory non-compliant, which means it's effectively illegal because it can facilitate illegal activities like child abuse, like human trafficking, like selling drugs, like kidnapping, and all that kind of stuff. We don't want that as a society to be happening in our society, which is why we don't want that shit. So have a listen to what Roger said in his interview. Here we go.
I have a question here from Satoshi, defender of Bitcoin. He said, if a cryptocurrency is anonymous, like BCH, I don't think BCH is anonymous, but maybe there is something.
Check out cashfusion.com and you combine that with reusable payment codes and you get Bitcoin Cash in the same sort of ballpark of privacy as Monero. It's really awesome. So you can check out Cashfusion. And I always get it wrong. I think it's .com, but it might be .org. So you can check both. Cashfusion.com.
Okay, awesome. So BCH, maybe using Cash Fusion and XMR, if they're anonymous, how can a business get legal recourse against a supplier if the supplier defaults and no proof on the transaction exists because anon?
Yeah, if you want your cryptocurrency to be perfectly legal for everything all the time, just go use your Visa card. Just go use your PayPal, right? What do you need a cryptocurrency for? You can do all of it with a centralized, fully legal and fully compliant payment platform, right? So go use PayPal. I think you've missed the entire point. The entire point of cryptocurrencies is that by technological design, they are beyond the reach of the law. They're above the law. That's why, imagine if Bitcoin could have been shut down by governments, they probably would have shut it down from right out of the gate. And it's the fact that Bitcoin can't be shut down. We should ask the BSVers this: if they pass a law saying BSV needs to shut down their blockchain, are they going to obey and shut down their BSV blockchain? I hope the answer would be no. Which is just a lot of the stuff I see from some of these BSVers are silly. But then there's other BSV fans that, I'm very, very sympathetic to their way of thinking. But the ones that say that the blockchains all need to be legally compliant about everything all the time, just go use your Visa card.
Absolutely ridiculous. The whole point of having a commodity money is that it is scarce and it is divisible. It is not inflated. Businesses using fiat currencies that are inflated means they are fighting an uphill battle forever because the medium of exchange that they're using to conduct business is going down in value. And if that goes down in value, it means the costs of doing business are going up. Now, there is only so much that you can increase the cost of your products by before customers won't buy it. And there's only so much that you can cut your costs until your business can't function anymore. This is why we need a money, Roger. Not so that you can just simply do all your stuff, like smoking crack in your own home and, facilitating child abuse and, promoting human trafficking and telling people they should do all this illegal shit that society has already told you they don't want. Now, if you wonder why I call Bcrash Bcrash, because it's an absolute load of shit, it's because Roger calls it that himself. Have a listen.
And we're going to really spread Bitcoin Crash across the entire country here in Antigua.
Yeah. Good luck with that one, Roger. Oh my God. I mean, have you ever heard such absolute, ridiculous nonsense? Literally, it's like talking to a teenager. Like, literally, a juvenile, a prepubescent pubescent juvenile who, is being told off by his parents because they don't want him to cross a busy road. No, I want to go across a busy road. I want to go and, enable the facilitation of free will so that people can engage in human trafficking because that's what I really want. You absolute moron. Absolute moron. So, now we have CoreCoin and Bcrash valued at absolute zero because there is no reasonable expectation in trade, because money that has a central point of authority or control has no fundamental value, which means they only have a speculative price. So when knowledge catches up with speculation, its speculative price will soon match its fundamental value at zero. Just like Voltaire said, paper money will always return to its intrinsic value of nothing, just like theirs will. Theirs is worth less than nothing. At least fiat currency is printed on paper. Even though blank paper is actually probably worth more. It's maybe used as an accounting metric, but this, as in kind of like the bits of light, which are the data which blockchain uses. The lights will simply go out. They are economically sustained. If they do not have any fundamental value, they will not be able to economically, financially, sustain the network they run on, which means the network will collapse and all the data on it will be lost forever. So the way you give a commodity money value is that you make it free for all the world so that no one can control it. So let's have a listen to what Satoshi Nakamoto said about money, power, and control in Bitcoin. Here we go.
This is what it all comes down to. See, what people don't understand is Bitcoin with a stable protocol takes away power. If no one can change the protocol, not me, not God, there's no power in money. Money is all about power. And this is one of the things Bitcoin has done. It has removed that power. It will remove that power globally.
There we go. Removing that centralized form of power globally, which means we're not going to have anybody spinning us yarns, scaring us, with like pandemics and stuff like this when they don't have the figures to back it up, or if those figures have just simply been fudged like we've been witnessing so far. All these figures given us by experts, even though nobody's met them and nobody knows who they are, and they've probably been given their figures by some other source who wants them to pump out those figures because it helps them create more profits for the pharmaceutical industry. You have to look at who is pulling the purse strings. Bitcoin is going to strip all of that away. And if you wonder what his motivation for creating such a phenomenal piece of technology is, well, have a listen to this.
At the end of the day, we own a lot of Bitcoin. The simple thing is, if we make the network scale, we make it bigger, my main compensation, more than anything anyone could ever pay me, is the price of Bitcoin goes up. So that's my pure drive.
There we go. That's my pure drive to make the value of Bitcoin go up. His drive is not to facilitate human trafficking. It's not to facilitate child abuse. It's not to encourage people to smoke crack in their own home. It's not to encourage arms dealing or anything like that. It's to purely increase the value of Bitcoin. Now let's see where he's shooting for. Remember, aim for the stars, you might hit the moon.
I want Bitcoin not to go up to 10,000 or 100,000. I want it to be worth millions per Bitcoin. That's it. And that's what we spend money for. Very simple.
There we go. That's what we spend money for. Very simple. And so he said he wants Bitcoin to be worth millions. So if you listen to my introduction, when I asked him, I said, is the market that BSV is going for, is it effectively global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion? And the answer was, no, that's too small. Now, $29 trillion puts Bitcoin at a value of around $4 million each. And now we know that $4 million is too small. So if it's not the global e-commerce market, what market could it be? So I think the black market is like $8 trillion, but clearly not really going for that one. Global e-commerce, $29 trillion. I don't know how many $1 trillion there are in cash and like all these different markets. But what I can tell you is one of those markets. And if you listen to the introduction when he says all derivatives, the derivatives market alone is estimated to be between $800 trillion and $1 quadrillion, which puts Bitcoin at a valuation of around $40 million each. And that is only the derivatives market. And that is only the circulating supply in my lifetime. It could be way more than that. But how do you get it to those valuations? Well, you make sure that it is applicable to all of those markets. You make sure that it functions within it. You make sure that it is regulatory compliant so that it can be used to facilitate trade in those markets. What you don't do is make it non-regulatory compliant so that they can't use it. Like absolutely ridiculous. Or maybe restrict the size so that it's only limited to a certain number of people that can use it. Or only fantastically really wealthy rich people who can use it. You want to make it available for the entire world to use. Now, the reason the core coin isn't going to be available for the entire world to use is because those organizations that have got suspiciously close links to the Federal Reserve that pumped $100 million into Blockstream, well, let me think. If you have other countries that can suddenly fend for themselves, it means they are no longer dependent on your handouts, as it were. It means that you can no longer squeeze them financially into submissions by giving them loans that you know they will never ever be paid back, which basically keeps them suppressed. So you can buy your goods and services from them at ridiculously cheap prices because wages will be really low, and you can control exchange rates and you can F them over big time. It's all about money and power, and Bitcoin strips that away. Now, if you want to benefit from Bitcoin, all you've got to do is get in there first. And you know who moves first? Intelligent people, because they do the research. First of all, you get intelligent people. Then you get smart people who understand that the intelligent people are intelligent. They're like, that's a good idea. And then you get everybody else following the smart people. So where are you? So remember, there is like intelligent people are the minority. Then you have a slightly larger group of smarter people. And then you have the majority of the population who are absolutely full of shit. And that's what we're seeing in Bitcoin at the moment. Is shitcoiners with shit for brains not having a clue. Even Peter McCormack, who said that Craig provided a crazy amount of evidence in his own court case that he created Bitcoin, went out and spent $46,000 on 2 BTC. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. And so let's have a look at this CoinCrap market. So again, I've tried to make this easy for everyone, but you know, it's knowledge. People just don't know this. When people were talking about commodities and securities, I just assumed that, you know, those people at the top knew what the difference between a commodity and a security is. I was just like, okay, well, you know, you seem to know your stuff, you do your thing. And then I was just like, hold on a minute, there seems to be a whole load of confusion about this. Let's do some research myself. It really didn't take me long to figure it out. A security has its value secured by the single central entity that issued it. It is entirely dependent on that centralized, that central entity that created it and dished it out, which often gives you a claim on their company to a dividend or something like that. Equity in it. It's like a certificate. It's like a representative of. So these things, these shitcoins, because they do not produce a dividend and people are just simply swapping their fiat currency for them in return for, well, nothing, hoping that the numbers go up because it might be used as money, it's never going to be used as money. Because if money has a central point of authority or control, it will never be used. And America will certainly never use it. And China will certainly never use it. And then you think, oh, right, well, is this going to be used as money? It's going to be worth a lot of money then one day. Well, if you want it to be used as money, why are you buying BTC that is never going to be used as money and can't be used as money? Because it is too slow and unreliable and expensive. It is an absolute piece of shit, and it's purposely been made expensive, unreliable and slow by the single entity that controls it, called Blockstream. I really don't know how else to say it. So the only shitcoin that isn't actually a security on the market cap is Litecoin. But Charlie Lee discredits Litecoin because he told everybody from the beginning that he created it. So let's see what Charlie Lee said about his creation. Here we go.
You created Litecoin, right? So this has to be something like you're incredibly passionate about.
Yeah, as most of you probably know, I kind of created it just for fun, right? I didn't really expect it to become anything.
No, I didn't know that, Charlie, but I do now. Maybe it would have been nice if you had told people who were going to buy your shit before, so they actually knew then, rather than now, after you've managed to exit scam the shit out of it, when you sold out at the top for $350 per coin each. Absolutely unbelievable. But let's just remind ourselves, what does it shitcoiners say?
Hey, hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
Stay away from shitcoiners that sound like that. They will do nothing but get you in trouble because they are playing with shit. Utter shit. I would say playing with fire, but shit is actually probably more appropriate, to be honest with you, when it comes to shitcoins, obviously. So let's have a look at what's going on. Check this out for the Maxthon browser that I'm now using. Got all my favourite websites here in these boxes. Let's have a look at CoinDance. Here we go. Let's go through these figures. This is where the political answers lie. So again, I'm only interested in Bitcoin here. I'm not interested in these two shitcoins over here. So we've got Bitcoin, 0.9% of the hash rate, network nodes 2.1, transactions 37%, and block size 30.3. Right, let's see what's going on. I've got BTC.com mining a 2.2 megabyte block. There's a 3.1 from Antpool. That's quite big for a B crash because there's a pile of shit. So 3.1. Congratulations to them. And Michael Saylor, if you were ever watching my show, because one day you will, because you'll be like, what the hell just happened? Well, just have a look at the numbers. The numbers do not lie. They are never going to scale your chain. It is never going to be cheap to use. It is never going to be efficient because they don't want people to use it. Because if people start using it, it becomes more valuable. And when it becomes more valuable, miners can economically sustain themselves due to the block reward halving, which will be countered by the fact that more and more people are coming in to use it. It is never going to happen. But let's have a look at Bitcoin. This is where the money is. So straight away I can see Tau with a 3.9 megabyte block. Effectively that's 4 megabytes. But let's just see who's mining what. So Tau, Norpool, Mempool, Huobi. And we got Huobi versus Unknown Miner again. Look at that. Fighting over these small blocks. Absolutely ridiculous. So again, Huobi Unknown, Huobi Unknown. Battle Royale between those small shitcoin enterprises there. But again, we know that Hathor is on there for no other reason other than out of sheer spite to prevent the likes of Huobi from just simply cleaning up all the small blocks, while those real investors like Tal and like Mempool, Norpool are actually going for bigger blocks, even though they've only got small ones there. But you know, I mean, Tal's still definitely going for these bigger blocks. But we know that Tal has been given a $3.5 million loan in BSV. Now, if they were going to dump that BSV for $1 to expand their mining operations, Satoshi Nakamoto could have just given them BTC. They could have dumped that. But they didn't, and they haven't. Which means they're probably holding on to it, expecting a price rise so that they can massively expand their operations, which will likely coincide with a huge increase in transactions on the network. Massive transactions coming soon, as we'll look at in just a minute. So let's look at these graphs again. Hash rate by network, yada yada. Hash rate just simply follows price, which follows value, which follows utility. Because if something has a utility, it can then have a value. When it has a value, it can then develop a price. When it has a price, it can then be measured against other goods and services and used as a medium of exchange. That is what Bitcoin is all about. Not what any of these shitcoiners will tell you. Store of value, they're digital gold. Not many use it. All that crap. People still believe it. Like, oh my god. Proof of work by network since the first chain split. Again, Coolcoin and Bcrash will stop overnight one day. Network hash rate, Bcrash versus Bitcoin. Proof of work, Bcrash versus Bitcoin. Ooh, it's 3,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Coolcoin, but it is 6.9% more profitable to mine on Coolcoin than Bitcoin. So it just goes to show you that the demand is there for it. Daily average Bitcoin block size by network. Again, Coolcoin just winning. Transactions by network. Ooh, getting close, but Coolcoin just winning today. A daily average Bitcoin transactions per block by network. Oh, Coolcoin just ahead. But fees USD, Bitcoin smashing it. Fees Satoshis, Bitcoin smashing it. Block reward ratio, again, that just simply follow comes with time because it follows price, which follows value, which follows utility. And yeah, blockchain growth by network, laughing at Bcrash there. Global hash rate, 7 days. Binance macking it, pushing BTC.com down into 4th. Global hash rate, 24 hours. So Huobi macking it hard over the last 24 hours. And BTC.com being relegated down into 6th place. Wow. Right, this is where it gets interesting. So this is Coolcoin. So Coolcoin is going to look very similar to global hash rate. We just got via BTC and Binance fighting out of there, but everything else looks pretty much the same. Bcrash, Antpool macking hard on there, along with BTC.com. I mean, what an absolute joke that is. A total joke. And this is Bitcoin. So yeah, Huobi. Huobi has got 27% of the hash rate, and other mining pools have got 29.8, keeping them at bay. While Tal and Norpool Mempool invest in the network and improve their efficiencies so that they can process large data transactions on the blockchain when the time comes, because these other mining pools just simply won't be able to do it. So even though these other mining pools have got more hash power, to me it looks like Tal and Norpool Mempool, or Mempool Norpool, are probably going to be ahead of the game when the game changes, should we say. They are going to be game changers. Just like Jerry Chan said at CoinGeek, rather than processing blocks, they're going to be processing payments. They're going to become payment processors. And now that we've looked at that, let's just have a quick look at the blockchain working live in front of our eyes. How many? Oh, look at this! Oh, it's going up. I mean, the last few days it's been like, 1 transaction a second, 2 transactions a second. That was 10 there a second ago, but now we're on 4, which is pretty good. I can feel it. It's coming. It's coming. So the vertical rectangular blocks that we're seeing moving across the screen are the transactions being recognized by the nodes on the network. Below that are the list of those who are generating the transactions, and then we've got the transaction ID, the input type, and the op return. Once the transactions are recognized by the nodes on the network, they are then thrown into the meme pool, where they are then competed for by the miners and the processors in order to process the transactions, put it in a block, and store it on the blockchain, where it is stored as a universal source of truth forever. And these are the blocks that we can see being put on the blockchain as we speak. So the highlighted or rectangular box below that has got the hash number, the height, who it was mined by, the size, the time, the date, the transaction count, and the total fees. Now again, in fact, yeah, we'll go over this in a minute. A lot of people will be asking, what is blockchain? And so many people don't even know that it's like, well, it's a distributed ledger. Well, it's actually more than that. Blockchain itself is an infinite mathematical sum. like represented here by these hash numbers. Now these hash numbers can then obviously be hashed and they represent the data, but you can only see that data if you have got that hash number. And those who have the hash numbers are those who generate the data, which means it is private. So you can see the transaction number on the blockchain, but you cannot see the data that comes with it. That is what makes it private. So you can communicate literally peer-to-peer. There is no third party controlling that network or platform that you're using because it is distributed. But not only is it distributed, there is competition between those who economically sustain the network. And that competition is what makes them separate legal entities. If you do not have competition between these entities, like in proof of stake, proof of delegated stake, pre-mined ERC20 tokens and all of that shit, they are purely centralized networks. They have no value as money whatsoever. That's the best I can explain. You know, and if shitcoiners can't understand that, you know, as Satoshi Nakamoto said, if you don't get it, or if you don't believe me or don't get it, I've not got time to convince you. Sorry, just gonna tell you how it is. Let's have a look at BitInfo charts here. Check it out. Loads of shitcoin comparisons across the top. We've got the rich list, which has got the wallets with the different amounts of Bitcoin and shitcoin in. And then we've got these blue tabs on the left-hand side, which give us different metrics to look at. So we're obviously going to take out Dogecoin because that is literally a joke. We'll obviously add in Bitcoin, which is BSV, because that's the only one we're really truly interested in. And we'll just look at Bcrash for lulz. And then we'll go to log. And then we'll go to 3 years. And this is Bitcoin in the purple. This is when Bitcoin got its protocol back, but at the it had to forego its ticker symbol. So the chain still starts at the Genesis block, but new name, new price, new ticker symbol. But because we know how powerful Bitcoin, or what it's capable of, look at what it is doing. It is absolutely smashing these shitcoins out of the water. This is development. This is investment. This is utility. This is functionality. This is intellect. This is Bitcoin. Yes, indeed. And none of these shitcoiners will understand it because they spend all effing day looking at number go up when it's the wrong effing number. They're talking about looking at the wrong effing number. Let's do that very thing ourselves. Great stuff, peeps. Right, so we'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the show. And as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there. Joy given. Same time tomorrow. Catch you later. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and watch the full episode on Streamanity for just 20 cents. Go to www.satoshi.tv. See the link in the description below. Bitcoin, one world, one chain.
Yeah, one vision.